In the blackest hour before dawn, a lone wanderer trudges through endless pines. The wind howls like ghosts, and each labored breath turns to white frost. The world is muted, gray, and mercilessly cold. Under the pallid moonlight, he finds no comfort. Every rustle in the dark feels like fate's whisper, urging surrender. Snow muffles each wary step, and the cold gnaws at his resolve. The pines tower like silent sentinels, their boughs heavy with ice. He searches for any sign of dawn but finds none. Trapped in that endless night, his mind drifts towards surrender. The silence around him demands answers he does not have. That wandering shadow is Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. He once traversed the real wilderness of human cruelty. In Auschwitz and Buchenwald, the night was perpetual. The silence was shattered only by distant commands and suffering. There, Frankl trudged on tired feet, and unanswered questions pressed close around him. In the camp, Frankl lost almost everything: family, books, even the right to speak freely. Each dawn brought new brutality, a harsher roll call, another round of hunger. He watched souls break. Some became empty-eyed shells. Others walked onward with a strange defiance in their gaze. Frankl saw then that survival depended on something inside. Frankl observed, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude. He saw it play out daily. Prisoners who clung to a purpose found strength. One dreamed of reuniting with family. Another resolved to tell his story if he survived. Nietzsche's words proved true. A why made any how bearable. Frankl saw something paradoxical. Those who steeled themselves to the worst endured. In whispered conversations he heard men say, "Even if this is the end, I'm ready." An eerie calm fell over them. It was as if naming death stripped it of its terror. In accepting the worst, these prisoners tapped a strange, fierce strength. Frankl learned to accept his fate day by day. Each morning he silently faced any outcome, freedom or death. This was stoic courage. Worry only about what one can control. Each breath became an act of acceptance. This calm acceptance, Buddhist in spirit, was a small rebellion. It meant inner freedom in a place designed to crush freedom. Frankl clung to Nietzsche's truth. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. In the camp, this was his lifeline. In each misery he heard a silent question. Why am I here? Every day he sought the answer. Even if it was just to greet another sunrise, even that small reason could outlast despair. In the dawn's gray gloom, Frankl felt his wife's presence beside him. Though miles and death separated them, he drew strength from her memory. Love alone can fill the heart with meaning, he thought. He whispered to himself the words they had once shared. In the soul's eye, a distant light glimmered hope, cast by her love. He found purpose in the smallest acts. When his countryman lay dying, Frankl chose to stay and comfort him rather than flee. In ministering to the weak, he discovered meaning beyond himself. A shared scrap of bread, a quiet hand on a shivering shoulder, each became an anchor against despair. These small mercies were his rebellion. The camp was a machine of despair. Each dawn, bodies were dragged away never to return. Hunger and lice ate at the spirit of the weak. Frankl would meet the vacant stares of those who had ceased to hope. The raw brutality of each day seemed to whisper, "This is all there is." But even amid this siege of despair, Frankl found resolve stirring. He swore, if he were to die here, he would not let this place consume his spirit. Each abuse, each insult, each moment of degradation became fuel for his defiance. In the darkest pit of humanity, he nurtured a stubborn fire in his soul. He claimed one final freedom, the landscape of his mind. The guards could beat his body, but not the compassion he chose. Each dawn he made a silent vow. No matter what was taken, he would not steal humanity from another soul. Even under the lash, he held on to dignity. Frankl quietly pledged that some part of him would remain unbroken. When work was over, Frankl retreated into memory. He recited lectures, remembered songs from happier times, and recreated dreams of his lost family. In those moments of inner travel, time would slow. Nothing could steal those thoughts. By feeding his mind with hope and memory, he sharpened a weapon against despair. In silence, he nurtured his soul. Yet in these victories, Frankl was not immune to grief. Each dawn he passed fresh piles of bodies awaiting cremation, and each loss of a friend weighed heavy. But even sorrow deepened his resolve. Every tragedy asked the silent question again. What now? His answer grew firmer. He chose to respond with purpose, however crushed. One night, Frankl found himself composing a goodbye letter to his wife, believing he would never see her again. He wrote of love and farewell, each word heavy with sorrow. At the end, he stopped. He was writing to silence. He realized what he was doing and let the scene fade. In that final acceptance of loss, he felt an eerie calm. He learned a brutal lesson. Love can outlast death. Believing his wife gone made her memory eternal and love undimmed. The weight of fear suddenly lifted. In one breath, the old hope was gone, but so was the torment of uncertainty. Like a Buddhist who lets go, he had made peace with what he could not change. In that moment of surrender, something unexpected happened. Stripped of hope of rescue, Frankl felt an odd freedom. The panic ceased. With nothing left to lose, he could fully embrace whatever came. This horror, which had sought to annihilate him, instead became a field for meaning. In choosing to face fate, he had reclaimed control of his mind. Now Frankl felt like a stoic warrior. He welcomed each new dawn with resolve. Marcus Aurelius taught that the soul is dying by the color of thought, and Frankl chose courage and purpose. Each sunrise was a chance to prove his inner spirit unbreakable. In the face of fate, he decided to stand tall, finding dignity in simply enduring another day. At last, the war ended. One cold morning, the camp gates opened. Frankl emerged, battered but alive, blinking in the sunlight. He had walked through hell and back. Outside, the world was ravaged, but Frankl carried inside him an undeniable understanding. Life had meaning, even here. His survival was a mission. He felt the weight of purpose on his shoulders. Frankl's trial was extreme, but the lesson is universal. We all know darkness. It might be illness, grief, failure, or a lonely morning in our own life. When that darkness gathers, we have a choice. We can rail at our fate, or we can accept it and find purpose. Frankl teaches that even in sorrow, meaning waits to be discovered. Picture your own dark forest, the burdens you carry. Then imagine crossing paths with Frankl at dawn. He would whisper, "Light a small lantern of purpose and let it guide you." Your purpose need not be grand. It could be finishing a day of work, comforting a loved one, or learning something new. That spark is enough to pierce the darkness. The Buddha taught that life involves suffering, but suffering becomes unbearable when we cling to illusion. Frankl's life confirms this. When we stop resisting life's inevitable pains, we can make room for compassion and creativity. Stoics remind us, what matters is not what happens to us, but how we meet it. Each morning, we can choose gratitude or resentment. Frankl teaches, storms in life cannot always be avoided, but you decide how to brave them. When loss or pain comes, remember this one last freedom. You can choose how you respond. Every step in hardship can become a statement of dignity. Even when tragedy strikes, you retain the power to define what it means for you. Recall Seneca's words, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Frankl lived that truth. Imagination had kept him alive for years. We may face real trials, but even those cannot hurt our spirit unless we let them. Each day you can resolve, I will find meaning in what is, rather than curse what's lost. Look in the mirror. No one can hand you your purpose. You must claim it for yourself. Frankl taught that between any situation and our reaction lies a choice. That choice, to find meaning or to despair, is your responsibility. In the camps, it was literally the difference between living and dying. Today, it still shapes every day of your life. Your soul is a small kingdom. Even if the world outside is tyrannical, your kingdom is yours. Greet each day as an opportunity to rule it well. If you cannot change your situation, change yourself. Forge your own meaning from the raw ore of pain and loss. It is hard work, and no one else can do it for you. Every moment is a drop of time that will never return. Life is fleeting, injustice is blind, death is certain. These truths are harsh, but they sharpen our focus. Frankl teaches, if the abyss beckons, lean into it and define your meaning there. Let each hard truth be the soil from which you grow courage. This is how meaning endures. When you stand again at the edge of despair, remember Frankl. He walked through hell carrying ideas as survival gear. He lived after the camps, built a life around those lessons. You too have a future and a choice. Frankl's journey poses a question. What will your purpose be? What light will you carry through your darkness? Frankl's meaning was his wife's face in a dream, a promise of love beyond this world. For others, it might be honor or beauty or service. For you, the why can be anything that pulls your soul forward. Right now, it might be hard to see, but the search itself refines you. In pursuing meaning, you become something more than despair. Start small. In moments of emptiness, do one kind thing for a stranger. Meditate on a line of poetry, or care for a plant. Frankl believed each little act of courage or kindness stretches our soul. Plant these seeds of meaning. Over time, they grow into the trees that shade our hardest days. What do you truly value? Love, truth, courage, kindness? In darkness, these values are like an inner sun. The Stoics taught, the only thing that cannot be touched by fate is virtue itself. Hold to your values as if life depended on them, because in a way, it does. With each choice, you either feed the darkness or nourish the light. Meaning may not hit you like a thunderbolt. Sometimes the bravest thing is simply enduring with your head held high until the storm passes. If you still feel void, vow to live with dignity. Each breath is a victory. Each heartbeat can be given purpose. Even enduring suffering without losing yourself is its own quiet triumph. This is meaning in motion. Now imagine the dawn breaking behind the pines. The endless night finally ends. If you have walked as far as Frankl did, you have earned the sunrise. After a freezing winter, green must return. Hope is a quiet seed buried in snow. It may not push up buds at first, but eventually the thaw comes, and life begins again. You will not be the same on the other side of this. Frankl left the camps changed, stronger, sorer, more human. Life's cruelties sharpened his compassion. You may feel broken now, but those cracks let light in and also make you stronger for the next challenge. Think of a forest regrowing after a wildfire. The first shoots of green are often the brightest. Even in the camp, Frankl sought sparks of beauty. A glimpse of stars through barbed wire, a line from a beloved poet, the echo of a Jewish prayer. Such things kept him alive. They whispered, life still had value. You too can find them. Listen to a piece of music that soothes. Write a note of gratitude. Look for beauty, even in rubble. These small flames will guide you. Frankl reminds us, meaning will not find you. You must seize it. This is your inheritance and your burden. Stop blaming fate. Stop waiting for a miracle. Each day, rise with a mission. The weight of choice is heavy, but it is yours to carry. You alone decide what this life means and how you will live it. Each morning offers a choice. Will you wake as a victim or as a victor? Frankl dismantled the walls between night and day with purpose. You can too. Decide what you will stand for. Decide who you want to be when the next trial comes. Write your story bravely, because the plot is still in your hands. If today were your last day on Earth, how would you live it? Frankl's answer was to live truthfully to his values, no matter the cost. Be like that. Honor your values with action, not just words. Be kind, be brave, create something of meaning. If pain is inevitable, make your response meaningful. In this way, suffering is transformed. In this shared search for meaning, your story matters too. Think about what anchors you in the night. What small reason or rituals keep your spirit alive when despair threatens? And share those reflections in the comments below. Every voice illuminates the darkness in its own way. And so the story ends as it began, with man in darkness, yet still searching for meaning.